Kawala Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai Bahashem, Racha Kudash, and double honors to the elders of Jemas Ruel. Blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah. Today's lesson, rebuilding with greater strength, and that's biblical. Here we have an RT.com article that says, Iran vows to rebuild nuclear sites after Western airstrikes. And this is a recent article. The country's atomic program is peaceful and not aimed at obtaining nukes. President Masoud Pezeshkian has said, Iran will rebuild nuclear facilities targeted in U.S. and Israeli strikes earlier this year. President Masoud Pezeshkian has said, reiterating that his country is not seeking to develop nuclear weapons. The article further reads, in June 2025, the U.S. and Israel launched coordinated airstrikes on Iran's Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan nuclear sites, causing major damage, according to satellite imagery and defense analysts. They described it as preemptive strikes to halt Iran's progress toward developing a bomb. After President Donald Trump warned that the U.S. could launch renewed strikes if Iran restarts the damaged sites, Tehran, which insists its program is peaceful, condemned the attacks as a violation of sovereignty. The scientific knowledge is in the minds of our scientists. Destroying buildings and factories will not create a problem for us. We will rebuild, and with greater strength. Pezeshkian told state media on Sunday during a visit to the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, the AEOI. And that's exactly what today's lesson is, rebuilding with greater strength. And that is exactly what the prophecy of 2 Esdras 15 and 30 has said about the Karmanians of Iran. And with great power shall they come. They shall rebuild with greater strength. And when it comes to biblical prophecy, there shall be a union of the so-called Islamic nations. And with that being said, let's begin with the horrible vision of Esdras in 2 Esdras 15 and 28. All this is prophecy. 2 Esdras 15 and 28. Behold, an horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. The appearance thereof from the east speaks of the Middle East, which in reality is Western Asia Minor. A horrible vision was shown unto Esdras of great calamities, civil disorder, and of the utter breakdown of society. Esdras also received a horrible vision of the east, which involved Saudi Arabia, Iran, etc., all the Emirates. 2 Esdras 15 and 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. And this is a vision that the Lord Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, gave unto Esdras. The dragons of Arabia shall not only back one another in talks and in trade, but they shall also back one another militarily. They shall come out with their tanks and weapons of war, with their many chariots. All these Arab nations combined and joined together will bring their military numbers up as well. The so-called Arabs themselves are a mixed nation. And when it comes to the Hebrew word Arab, it simply means mixed. And that's exactly what the Arabs are, a mixed nation. And these so-called Arab nations shall come out with many chariots, meaning with their weapons, with their many weapons-mounted vehicles, their tanks and drones. And when it comes to these Arabian countries, these so-called Arabian countries, particularly Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, they are also actively integrating and developing AI-powered vehicles, drones, and unmanned systems for military and security purposes. All these weapons shall be used in World War III. But those weapons will also be supplied unto them by the Russians, as in the case of 2019. As you can clearly see here, in 2019, the UAE, which stands for the United Arab Emirates, purchased 710 million of anti-tank weapons from Russia. And let me tell you something about Russia. They are still profiting from arms exports despite those heavy sanctions placed upon them. When it comes to that Russian president, he's very clever and smart. And in the time of their wrath, Isaiah 13 and 17 has also said about the Russians, which are the modern day Medes, they are in the land of the Medes. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Right. The Russians are those modern day Medes that shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Meaning that they shall not be bribed. They will not be bribed. And on that day, their only purpose shall be to burn modern day Babylon the Great with fire to ashes. And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth. That speaks of those missiles that shall travel at the speed of sound from one end to another. Remember that Iran shall also be involved in this. It's prophesied that Iran shall come with great power. And when it comes to those hypersonic weapons, Russia has plenty of those. And they shall use them against modern day Babylon the Great. And it shall be the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, that shall guide all those destructive missiles to hit all their strategic targets upon modern day Babylon the Great. And none shall miss, according to the scripture of 2 Esdras 16 and 13. And not even an iron dome will stop them from entering Babylon the Great. None shall miss, because the Spirit of the Lord shall be guiding them. And here's that scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 30. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. Right. And that Assyrian is not talking about the ancient land of Assyria. No. The Carmanians represents the Iranian wild boars of Iran. And if you know anything about wild boars, they are strong, fast, and very aggressive. And that's how the Iranians shall be when they go forth to meet the enemy. Wild boars are ferocious and fearless. And when it comes to the Iranians, they too shall be in that fierce mentality. The Iranians are the Persians. And it is prophesied that they shall come with great power due to their military might. That's why the article ties in with the scriptures, because it said it shall rebuild with greater strength. Right. And they shall come with great power due to their military might. You see how everything ties in together? But you have to say it in sincerity and in honesty. You cannot lie about these things. Me, I like to say things in sincerity and in honesty, especially when it comes to the word. And the Carmanians raging, meaning that they shall be stirred up with uncontrollable, violent anger. Raging also means that they shall continue with great force or intensity. And this scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 30 did say that they shall be raging and come with great power. All the Arab nations will join together in that final showdown of World War III. And when it comes to Iran, they should not be underestimated because they have an enormous arsenal at their disposal. They have very sophisticated and accurate theater ballistic missiles with a range capacity of 1,200 miles and tactical ballistic missiles, the TBMs. And they also possess cruise missiles and unmanned systems and drones. And if they add more to their arsenal, they shall definitely come with great power and great strength. So no longer can the small nations be bullied because they have officially leveled the playing field. They now possess nuclear capability and other sorts of advanced weaponry. And plus, the Russians will supply them with weapons. They have a strategic alliance between one another. And when they shall all join together to war, they shall come up against the land of the Assyrians. And like I said, the land of the Assyrians is not referring to the ancient land of the Assyrians, but it's referring to modern day America. The modern day Assyrian is Edom, so-called white race. Remember that the Bible speaks in code, parables, and in mystery. That's why these Christians have a hard time understanding the scriptures. This scripture of 2 Esdras 15 and 30 has said that the Carmanians shall rage in wrath, and with great power shall they come. So expect that to happen. The United States and the land that the small hats now inhabit shall be met with great wrath and with fire. The only thing is that the land that the small hats now occupy shall rebuild, but modern day Babylon the Great shall never rebuild. That's the only difference. The land that the small hats now inhabit shall rebuild. But Babylon the Great, which speaks of America, no. But it shall be the small hatters that shall draw out the Americans to that final destructive showdown of World War III. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, you see. Also remember that Russia is providing unprecedented level of military aid and technical support to Iran. So any attack on Iran will definitely draw out the Russians. We are no longer living in the time of peace but of war. Also the time approaches when the allies of America shall betray them. All this is prophecy. And what's happening here upon this RT.com article, rebuilding with greater strength, that is part of the scriptures. Showing you that what the scriptures have said are truth, are truthful. This is the word of the Lord. And this RT.com article proves further that the Iranians shall come with great power. Did it not say that they shall rebuild in greater strength? Once they implement that CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16, that third world war cometh quickly. No holes barred. On that day, with that being said, Ka'alallah Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha, Qudash, and double honors to the elders of GMS Ruwell, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity and in honesty. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah. Shalom.